Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here, bringing you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's disappointing 3-2 loss at Old Trafford to Manchester United on Thursday night. Apologies for the tardiness of this video. Life has just gotten in the way the last 24, 36 hours. I'm recording this at that 10 to 1 on Saturday morning, so I apologise, but I'm just one of those days where you don't get time to record anything. But here we are, getting ready to talk for the next 15 minutes about just how Arsenal managed to throw away a glorious opportunity to knock a rival out of the top four race. The golden ring was there, and they swiped and they missed. And yeah, it's a tricky one, but it's not one of those games where a lot went wrong. It was just small mistakes at key moments that cost Arsenal. Maybe it's a young team learning, maybe it's a tactical error. We'll go into it over the next 10-15 minutes. And if this is a video that you do enjoy over that next few minutes, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment underneath. We've got a burgeoning community of people who love talking tactics underneath. And yeah, if you want these videos in your inbox on a regular basis, hit subscribe, hit the little bell beside it, and you'll be notified as soon as these videos goes up. Sometimes right after the game, sometimes not so much. But in terms of the game itself, Arsenal set up the same way they have over the last month, 2 months or so, on this good run of form. And except for the one change being Saka's enforced, not say injury, out, but he clearly wasn't fit. He got 20 minutes at the end of the game, didn't look sharp. Be interesting to see if he plays Monday against Everton, because Martinelli wasn't awful, but especially after setting up the second goal. But a penny for Pepe's thoughts right now. Like 80 million euros, yes, it's spread over 5 years, and yes, Arsenal overpaid, but he's now third choice right wing. Going to be interesting to see how that pans out, because clearly Arteta wants to give Martinelli more time, and doesn't look like he's going to drop his captain, and it certainly looks like he's not going to drop Smith Rowe anytime soon. So is this the only place available for Martinelli if and when Saka needs a rest? That'll be one to keep an eye on. But Arsenal, they played a little bit more conservatively, and it's easy to understand why when you look at Manchester United's front four. Like, you can't blame a manager for going away from home and saying, right, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, when Manchester United can play Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo up front. So I don't fault him for picking his most conservative midfielder in Elneny, and to a point it kind of worked, because for vast periods of the game Arsenal were in somewhat control. They were able to keep Manchester United at bay. The front four were doing an excellent job of not so much pressing, but getting in the passing lanes. They were doing a great job of continually doing this. And then with Anelli and Partey pressing up, United had no outball. Tavares was doing a good job covering Rashford. Tomiyasu the same with Sancho, and they were just reduced either to knocking it back and forward across themselves or just knocking it long. At no time did United have a period of play where Fernandes was able to stand here with the ball and have 5 runners. United had a lot of the ball, but didn't really do a lot with it. And that's something to be cautiously optimistic about. This idea of Arsenal pressing with 6 and making sure that they don't give away easy chances is working. But the problem with this is that it relies on everyone to be perfect. It relies on everyone to be in sync with each other, and this is still a team getting used to playing with each other, whether it be Martinelli at right wing, Tomiyasu at right back, and dare I say it, even Thomas Partey. Yes, he's 18 months at the club now, but this is like the 4th or 5th different midfield role he's been asked to play. Now it's the box-to-box midfielder, instead of being the deepest line midfielder, instead of being, almost as a number 10 at times, almost being a sole defensive midfielder by himself at times. Like, he hasn't had the room to grow into his game, and he keeps picking up these niggly little injuries that prevent him from getting 10, 12 games in a row, and he just hasn't had time to settle. And Thursday's game was just another example of that. His best game was at Old Trafford last year when, ironically, it was him and Elneny as well who played superbly together, where they completely bossed Fred and McTominay. And yet, for at least half an hour of the first half and most of the second half, Partey wasn't his usual proactive self. He was very reactive. And as a result, was partly to blame for United's 2 goals, as I'll show in a second. Arsenal again wanted to defend like this, just keep everything nice and tight, and then if they got the ball, they broke. With Aubameyang going in there and Odegaard going right. Like, it was simple but effective. And, Odegaard was getting a couple of chances here. Smith Rowe was getting in. The goal was a fluke. Like Arsenal were very, very competitive on corners, getting a couple of early chances, and then Fred, hilariously stamps on De Gea's ankle by mistake. De Gea goes down. Fred puts up his hand to try to alert the referee. Can't do it. Smith Rowe sees De Gea on the ground, smashes it in the empty net, and it's 1-0. And you're like, well, that's probably what Arsenal deserved. But once they scored, and this is a rather worrying trend, they stopped playing. They went, grand, no bother. I'll come back here, I'll come back here, I'll come back here, I'll come back here. And we're just going to sit deep. We're not going to press as much. We're going to be a little bit more cautious. We're going to be a little bit more, apprehensive over making overlapping runs like this or this. And as a result, for the remainder of the first half, it was all Manchester United. And Manchester United had one plan. And one plan only. And it was to get Rashford in here or Sancho in here. Or, at the very least, get the ball in here. I'll bring this down a little bit. There we go. And to get the ball in here to either Rashford or Sancho. But Arsenal were doing a good job one-on-one here to keep them at bay, to keep them away from, getting behind and beside Gabriel and Ben White. And as a result, Ronaldo was resorting to long shots from in and around the area, which is fine. Occasionally he'll score one, but you'll take that. Fernandes was shooting from here. Again, you'll take that. Where Arsenal let themselves down was these 4 here, because when United want to get the ball in here, Fred especially was able to get past Partey and get in here. There we go. And get in here. And Partey was always behind him. And it was just again and again where Sancho would try and find Fred with the ball and it'd get cleared. But for their goal, he found Fred. Ben White comes over to, Partey tries to get in. Tomiyasu tries to get in. It goes to Fernand, who's here, who then gets in here for the cross. Bang, 1-0. And, Arsenal weren't doing a good enough job. 1-1, I should say. Arsenal weren't doing a good enough job of tracking runners. Of making sure that anyone who got into the box was well marked. And for the second goal, it was a carbon copy. Just reversed. Rashford gets the ball here. Gabriel goes to cover. And now Ronaldo is here, with Ben White here and Partey here. And when we talk about playing between the lines, when you've got a back 4 like this, it is crucial not to let this man free. Not to let them get space in here, in between the back line and the midfielders. So when White goes here, it's imperative that one of Elneny or Partey get there. Partey goes to the back post to try and cover Fernandes and Sancho, and then he doesn't get to Ronaldo. Ben White is hoping that one of them gets to Ronaldo because he's trying to stand in the way. It doesn't work, and Ronaldo does not miss from there. And it's 2-1, and it's little mistakes like this that Arsenal were making again and again. Nothing huge, but just small errors that get taken advantage of in big games like this. And it's ironic that Arsenal's equaliser was doing to United what United had done to them, because this time it was Fred McTominay who didn't react, because Partey gets the ball here. Tellez has gone wide. He finds Martinelli. Maguire, Lindelof go back. Everyone's thinking it's going in, but McTominay and Fred don't get back quick enough. And Odegaard is in between the lines again, and Martinelli finds him, and it's a fantastic finish into the corner. It's 2-2. And Arsenal have just scored a goal that they've just conceded. They're carbon copies of each other. And yet for the third, what happens? We put everyone back. Where do United want to attack? Here. And United have a throw. Partey is back here. So is Elneny. They're trying to protect 2-2. Partey is back. They're all back, mate, just in case a cross comes in. Ronaldo's in, Rashford's in, Fernandes is in. And Partey's providing an extra man, and Odegaard is here. And he turns his back on Fred for a second. That's all it was, 1 second. Fred gets the ball, runs in behind, and Odegaard goes, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I need to do something. What do I do? And he gets desperate, and he clatters into Fred. And Thursday night when I saw it, you can watch Fred put his left leg almost in front of Odegaard so that he makes sure he gets tackled. But it's just awkward. It's just an awkward, poor challenge. And it was always going to be given as a penalty, and Ronaldo doesn't miss penalties. Not often. 3-2, game over. And it's just one of those games where there's not much you can do with managers and tactics when players just turn off, just lose concentration, just switch off for a second, because you can't do that at this level. You cannot have any lapses of concentration, any lapses of perception, any time spent not thinking about where the opposition is, because even a team that is in such poor form as Manchester United, with the talent that they have, are going to capitalise on it. And it's these little mistakes that you would hope that a young team would make and then get out of their system. Again, Odegaard, still a young player. This is really his first chance to be part of a team and be a solid starter, nailed in the side. So yeah, and he does a lot of running, and that's probably his first defensive mistake that he's made. So you can forgive that, but when you consider a game like this, and we, I suppose, eventually go to the heat maps, you can see neither team had really a place on the pitch where they had a ball in a dangerous position often. Arsenal, Smith Rowe would get it here and then look around and see no one. Martinelli would get it here and often run down here, and you're like, well, that's fine, he can do that. Tomiyasu would often get it here, but again, these aren't dangerous places. The only time this is a dangerous place is if you were Trent Alexander-Arnold. Then this is a problem. But when it's Martinelli and, Tomiyasu, not so much. That's where Arsenal had the ball the most. Ramsdale, knocking it back, and then he gets it here. And then he was getting it further forward than Partey. That's a problem. Partey was getting the ball occasionally here, but that's not where you want Partey to be. You want Partey to be here, not here. And when Partey has 72 touches of the ball, and Elneny has 92 touches of the ball, you can see the problem in Arsenal's build-up play. You can see that the wrong midfielders getting the ball again and again. And Arsenal just weren't consistently able to get the ball up to Aubameyang. Because look where he's getting the ball. Here, occasionally up here. 28 touches. When you consider that Ronaldo doesn't really involve himself in build-up play at all, and Ronaldo touched the ball 38 times, you can see how little of an effect Aubameyang is having on the team, apart from when he's getting in on goal, and he's not getting in on goal. So Arsenal have to find either a better way of getting the ball into these areas more often. Again, as you can see, number 10, your playmaking role, no one. It's going that way and that way with because Odegaard doesn't play it. Odegaard plays here. You know, Smith Rowe plays here. You know, they're getting in and around the right spaces, but nothing penetrating. They were just knocking it back and forward. So, can Arsenal figure out a way? Can this young team grow and work out patterns that would get them into more dangerous positions? Because that's the next step. And can the senior players turn up? Because that might have been Partey's worst game for the club. Even after setting up the second, setting up the ball for the second goal, that's pretty much all the effect he had on the game in terms of offensively and defensively. He was a step behind, and then he showed why he was fourth choice. Tavares was ineffectual attacking wise Thursday. Kieran Tierney can't be far away, so there's going to be times where Arsenal will play better, but this was a team when there's 31 shots in the game. Like this was a game where the only criticism I have of Arteta is the fact that Sambi Lakonga wasn't played. Like he gave Tavares an extra game or two after his mistake at Anfield, yet he plays Elneny as a more defensive cover, and as a result, every time Elneny got the ball, it was passed back. Like with McTominay and Fred as a screen, if Arteta is going to ask his players to be a little bit more adventurous, if Arteta is going to ask his players to be more on the front foot and to create more chances, then he kind of has to do the same himself. Like yes, it might make sense in the long run to play, two defensive midfielders, but in this game, in this exact moment, Arteta made the wrong choice. He needed to be on the front foot. He needed to play a slightly more attacking, midfield, because Manchester United were there for the taking, and Arsenal didn't take them. If you did enjoy this video, again, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you want these videos in your inbox on a regular basis. If you did see something in this game that I haven't picked up or I didn't mention here, please feel free to comment down below. Nothing wrong with correcting me at all. People are doing it right now every week. But yeah, Everton on Monday. Another team completely out of form with a manager under pressure. Hopefully Monday night will go better than Thursday. Good luck.